Hey class, my informative speech is going to be on urban sprawl's environmental impacts and the mitigations we could take against them. So the world is an ever-changing place. If you could stand in the same spot and watch a time lapse of the past 4 billion years, you would see an ever-changing picture that you never moved a muscle. So nature, chemistry, and physics are typically to blame for the ever-evolving environment, though more recently, humans have become the terraformers of our planet, replacing once vast and beautiful landscapes with concrete and metal as far as the eye could see. So humans will always need a place to live. There's nothing we can do about that. According to the United Nations website, the world's population is expected to increase by nearly 2 billion persons in the next 30 years, from the current 8 billion to 9.7 billion in 2050. Though our year-over-year growth rate is on a downward trend, our population is still growing, and with more people comes a greater need for shelter. With land development being necessary to increase housing availability for the growing population, additional land development is required for the agricultural needs as well, such as farms, ranches, all of our agricultural needs, leading to an even more deforestation than we currently have. Imagine, if you would, a vast forest with intertwining rivers, streams, otters playing in shallow ponds, cracking oysters open on their bellies. What you just envisioned was Times Square in the 16th century. So much of the earth has already changed from its natural state to accommodate us, humans. Do we really need to continue changing that? As we humans continue to push against nature and pave right over the remnants, we essentially put a stranglehold on the wildlife that once called it home. 41,000. That is the number of species the World Wildlife Foundation's website presents as endangered or under threat of extinction. Other researchers note varying numbers with respect to species that have not yet been discovered. The Earth is already covered in developed land, with much being zoned for either commercial, residential, or agricultural development. Though many countries are working on designating land as protected, there is currently no land that is recognized by the United Nations as protected. So this was once the case in the United States, where no land was deemed protected. There was no federally protected land until Yellowstone became the first national park in 1872. So that brings us to Florida, where ongoing deforestation is impacting our ecosystem on a tremendous level. Florida, specifically South Florida, is regarded as a tropical paradise, though that may not have always been the case in some people's eyes. In the late 19th and 20th centuries, people began to take a keen eye to the financial potential that South Florida presented. These entrepreneurs saw no beauty in the vast mangroves that lined the beaches or the rivers of grass that presided across all of the inland lowlands. Instead, they cleared the beaches to put palm trees, then dug canals to drain the swamps, and these ongoing effects of deforestation almost eliminated the Everglades in their entirety, if it wasn't for a few key people in the National Park Service. The National Park Service recognizes 39 species residing within the Everglades as being endangered, with a much larger list of invasive species inhabiting the area, such as pythons, several types of other reptiles, a number of plant species, and the list goes on. According to the Pensacola News Journal's website, increasing development density 20% saves 1.8 million acres of raw land from development in our state alone. 5.8 million acres of conservation lands as well, and 1.3 million more acres of agricultural land from production from now and through 2070, and that's just 20% increase in density from our current rate. So supporting our growing population is manageable if we do it correctly. The human population will most likely continue to grow indefinitely, and with this growth will come challenges, especially when we look at potential environmental impacts. Though these challenges exist, there will always be ways to cope with them, and in recent history, we have become exponentially better at preventing environmental catastrophes. Thank you.